walking away from that ravioli.
What's going on here? All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Complete Commander. I am Benny Smith, and I'm here with my lovely partner Wendy.
Hi.
Hi. So we got all 5 of the Commander decks, and we thought it'd be fun to open them on stream. So I checked with Twitter to see if anybody had any suggestions and for which one to start first. So let me see what their... So we got... Looks like Enhanced Evolution was got the most votes. So let's start with that one. And we'll set these aside for now. Put those over there.
Yep.
Alright, so Enhanced Evolution is the Mutate one. So let's open this bad boy up. So what's been your impression of some of the Mutate cards that we opened up in Ikoria, Wendy?
Well, I haven't digested the mechanic yet. I have no idea how it's going to work, or I haven't looked at that many cards with the ability, so
Okay.
we'll see. I'm going to reserve judgment.
The jury is still out.
My jury is out.
Okay. So this is the face card. Would you like to take a read?
Sure. This is Otrimi the Ever Playful. But when your title is Nightmare Beast, I'm not sure how playful you are. It's a 6/6 with Mutate. So if you cast this spell for its Mutate cost, put it over or under target non-human creature you own. They mutate into the creature on top plus all abilities from under it. So it's just stealing abilities, I guess, or borrowing them.
Yep.
Has Trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, return target creature card with Mutate from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, so like whenever you mutate, you can decide So, like, whatever is the top card gets the name and the creature type and the casting cost and the stats. So, if you've got a bigger creature, you can put it on top, or if you've got a smaller mutate creature, you can kind of tuck it under the bottom but still get some of the abilities of that. So, you're basically merging the two creatures, or 3 creatures, or 4 creatures. Yeah. And so he can get back dead mutated creatures, or mutate creatures, if he deals combat damage. So that's kind of cool.
So I'm assuming that the bonus here is that as you return these target creatures with mutate from your graveyard to your hand, you can play them out and you can continue to stack them or play around with them however you want and combine your abilities.
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
Yep.
Okay. I think I'm...
See, he's playful like that.
I don't find it playful, but I didn't build the legendary Grathoma deck either, did I? So.
All right, it looks like we've got a life counter in here. That's kind of neat. It's a little sort of a spin down life thing. Starts at 40. On the other side looks like it goes from 1 to 20. Huh.
If you glued it to the tabletop, then you could never lose.
Okay, right.
You'd only go down to...
Right.
You'd only go down to 21, I guess, right? Yep, that's where it starts. So that's just a tip from me on how to win Commander.
Oh, okay. So it's 21 to 40 on this side.
So, but if you pretend like you can't flip it, you can never go down.
Okay.
You're just permanently at 21.
So once you take damage to go below 21, you just go back up to 40.
Yeah, you can just keep spinning that baby.
All right.
We'll call that a life mutate.
That is some technology right there.
I don't really play like that, but...
All right, so... I guess this is for people that like to draw tokens. I'm not sure why that's in here, but maybe it's to protect from, I guess, from damage, from getting scratched or whatever. Okay. All right, so here's the deck.
But I like your idea. This is for people who want to create their own token.
Right?
I like it.
Yeah. I've played some webcam games with some very artistically minded people, and some of them draw their tokens instead of trying to find all the tokens that they need. They just kind of draw them on the fly. That's kind of cool.
Sweet.
With those dry erase tokens.
Oh yeah, we have a set of those. 2 sets of those, right?
Yeah.
Those are fun.
All right, so there's one of your favorite Magic advertisements.
I do love Magic advertisements. I thank you, Wizards, for that.
All right.
Love it.
It says popular Magic formats: Standard, Booster Draft, and Commander.
Well, I think that's probably because these Commander precons just make a perfect jumping off point, right? So, like, if you just had an interest in Magic in general, this is a really good place to, plunk down a reasonable amount of money and get a great playable deck.
Yep.
Right out of the box.
Yeah. All right, so we got our face card here, and then we've got another one here. Do you want to read that one, Wendy?
Am I going to read all of these cards?
Well,
do I have to read them all?
I already know the new stuff, so I figured this way you can read the new cards and see what you think.
Okay.
There's not this whole stack is not new cards.
Oh, okay, good. Because I'm not doing this 99 times. No. Okay. Zaxora the Exemplary. We have a Nightmare Hydra. That's a theme already. A 2/3 Death Toucher. Tap to add 2 mana of any one color. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, create a 0/0 green Hydra creature token. You could draw it right there.
Right.
And then put X +1/+1 counters on it. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to assume there are some cards in here that have an X in the casting cost.
Yeah, probably.
So that's probably how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
Probably other nightmares.
Could be. But I think that'll make its own deck commander, right? Like,
yeah,
probably put a whole bunch more X spells than are probably in this deck.
Okay.
It's like you could have an X counter spell that you can counter something and then get a Hydra for your troubles.
You do like Hydras.
Hydras are pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, they're like a bonus creature.
Right?
Because you have to listen to them a whole bunch of times.
Right.
But that's actually just interesting in commander decks in general. When you're playing, like, let's say you're at a command fest and you're playing against a deck that you're just not that familiar with the commander. I love seeing things like this show up that I think, ooh, I could just build a whole deck around that. Like, there are things that I can envision putting with that would make a great deck. So that's a really kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because this is the face card. So, like, probably there's mutate stuff here, but then this card is like,
has its own build.
By the way, maybe you want to take this and go build your own thing.
Yeah.
Plus, this just taps for 2 mana of any color, so it's a 4 mana 2/3 Death Toucher, right? So it's a blocker.
So it's probably going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
And it's maybe even just going to create some mana if you don't have anything that you're really scared of.
Plus, what's super cool is if you mutate Otrimi, the Ever Playful, onto Zaraxa, you get Trample and Death Touch. It's a 6/6 Trampler and Death Touch. So, like, 1 point of damage is lethal, and the rest of the damage tramples over.
So that's 5 points of commander damage. That's pretty much going to go through if they've only got 1 blocker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a quick game. Could be quick.
Could be.
So when we first opened this, I was thinking that you had to only play this on other mutate creatures, but that's not the rule.
No.
Because I'm supposed to read the card. I think there's another word in there that I have to leave out because it's not family friendly. But people are like, you need to pay attention to the card. That's, I think, one of the most fun things, though, about new sets. And, like, when we have done pre-releases in the past, you go out and really none of you have any clue what the card really is telling you to do. And as you play through it, you get to make silly mistakes and laugh about them. But everybody's kind of doing that. So it lowers the that expectation that you have to be perfect in the game, and know everything and read every card. And because I'm famous for going, what does that say again?
Well, one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to do this podcast with you is that, I've been obsessively reading all this stuff for a month, right? So I've been neck deep in all this. I just haven't been able to play with these cards.
Right.
So my excitement is just being able to finally get my hands on these cards. But, like, you have been busy with other things. You haven't really paid attention to this. You don't obsess over spoilers like I do. But once you get the card, then you start getting interested. So I thought this would be fun for you to kind of see this stuff. So I'll give you a break on the reading of the cards.
I really don't mind. It's
you don't
fine.
mind? Okay.
No.
Well, then let's take a look at these two. These are
giving you a hard
partners.
time. Okay. Okay, so we have Yukima Stalking Shadow, or Yakima, which isn't as cool sounding.
I kind of like Yakima.
He's I think it's a vegetable, actually.
Right.
Whale Wolf, partner with Kazur, Ruthless Stalker.
So that's a creature type whale wolf?
Whale Wolf. The whale wolves.
Okay.
You know that creature type.
Right?
Okay. So our partner over here is Kazur, the Ruthless Stalker. He's a human warrior. Whenever you play one of them, you are able to go grab the other one from your library and then give yourself a shuffle. So for Yukima, I'm going to call him Yakima. When he leaves the battlefield, he can't be blocked. That's important. And then when he leaves the battlefield, he deals X damage to target player, and you gain X life, where X is its power. So when you go and grab your partner, Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature once you've played him out. So
Yakima will keep getting bigger.
Yeah.
And if he gets killed, then you're going to hit somebody
get all
for
that
damage.
and get all that life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty good.
So one of my all-time favorite cards in Commander is Blackblade Reforged, which equips to a legendary creature for a discount, and then gives the gives the equipped creature +1/+1 for each land you control. So like you could slide that on Yakima and get him really large. So even if they kill it, they're gonna still take a bunch of damage. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. I guess well, I guess he's just the perfect partner for a whale wolf. I can't. I mean, is he terrestrial? Is that what we're saying here? I mean,
so.
he's
got legs
but he's also got a tail.
And he knows how to use them.
That is true.
And he has a tail.
He does have a tail.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Well, he can't be blocked, so whether you're on land or by sea, he's going to come for you.
Yeah. I don't recall any creatures that are like... It's not like flying where you're obviously going to be above, you fly over. Like, there's no way to, like, go underneath the boat and up, overturn it in Magic. So we'll just assume that on land he's ferocious.
And what's kind of cool about this guy is his ability... You play him, and then all your other creatures get to benefit from his abilities. So that's kind of nice. Right.
So no matter who attacks, whenever they deal combat damage, you get a +1/+1 on that creature.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right. So now we got a beast token. On the back side is Hydra. Because you might need some Hydras.
Hydras have a way of reproducing somehow.
Looks like there's lots of beasts and lots of Hydras. Holy smoke. They are going to be making lots of beasts and Hydras with this thing.
It's like those planet tokens. What were those? Sapperlings.
Right.
Like you'd get a commander set that made some sapperlings, and you'd have like 15 sapperling tokens.
All right, so this is a reprint. Blighted Woodland. Some good acceleration.
What's that one? I've never seen that one before.
Command Tower.
I'm kidding.
Right?
Definitely kidding.
Alright, so these are a bunch of lands. Myriad Landscape. So those are two pieces of acceleration that are excellent. So it's good to see both of those. Got a Tri-Land. Rogue's Passage. So you've got more unblockable stuff going on there.
Oh
So
no.
This can
Ow.
go right on out of there.
I think you cut me with that.
Sorry about that.
You hate that card.
It's just such a bad card.
Such a bad card.
All right. And then we got basic lands.
He pays me to say that.
Alright, let's get rid of the basic lands. Okay, so here we got some more new cards. So let's take a look at the first one.
Alright, Souvenir Snatcher. Now, that looks like a crow.
Yep.
Or a raven, one or the other. And I don't like the term snatcher. That makes him sound like a thief. And I just think that they are collectors. But anyway.
Okay.
He's mutate for 5 and a blue. You can mutate it.
Yep.
4/4 with flying. Whenever this creature mutates, gain control of target non-creature artifact. Oh, he is a thief. So that's good.
He's a collector.
He is. He is a collector. And flying. So
I mean, we're all collectors, so we can understand his urge to collect things.
The reason that his mutate cost is higher than his actual casting cost is because he does cool things for you.
Right?
Right? He gets you things like I don't know.
Soaring.
Maybe. Or maybe you want a why can't I think of the name of that big thing? That the big artifact.
The Great Hinge.
Nope, that's not what I'm thinking of. But anyway, he'll steal things for you. Yep. And not only that, but you would get flying, right? Which could be an advantage that you might really need at some point. If you were saying, like, say, playing against a dragon deck. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Utrimi doesn't have flying, so you could...
you might want him to have it.
You could give him flying with that. You could put... And since this is smaller, you put it underneath him.
Right, and a lot of people love to use 1/1 flyers as blockers. Right? So you have those little servos and things like that can just sort of stop things from the sky. But if he has trample as well, then you can't do that. It doesn't work. You're still going to get 5 points through those 1/1 blockers. Yeah. So, I like it.
Yeah. All right, so here's the next one. This one does not have mutate.
Titled Barracuda. Any player may cast spells as though they had flash. I don't like that. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. See, when I play blue, I don't like to give anyone else my advantages.
Okay.
But if they can't cast them during my turn, at least they can't play things and prevent me from
doing your thing.
Doing my thing.
Right.
So, I get it. It's not necessarily a negative for me, but it's a positive for others, and sometimes I just don't play that way.
Well, if you yourself play a lot of counterspells, you're not going to like this card. But like if you play against people that play in counterspells, this is a pretty sweet creature.
Yes, because it's gonna on your turn they can't stop you from doing what you're gonna do, or like can't flash out something to block when you think they don't have a blocker.
Or if somebody's holding up mana and they're like, at the end of your turn, since you didn't do whatever, I'm gonna do whatever. See, once you play that, they're gonna have to respond right away, or else hold their peace.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're probably gonna kill your fish, but it's okay.
They might.
That's all right.
Well, but they can't kill it once it resolves, right?
Right.
So they'd have to counter it, I guess. So that's kind of neat.
Well,
because once it resolves, it's out there.
But once it resolves, this is commander. So on somebody else's turn, you may draw their fire with something like this, and they might, which could make it a very interesting card for an alliance of some sort.
Right.
I'm just thinking that.
Well, in a way too, everybody likes to be able to play stuff with flash, right? Mm-hmm. So like if you play this, and the counterspell person is upset about it, but the other two players are happy to have everything flashed, then maybe they'll help protect it.
Right.
So it's kind of a neat. It's kind of a neat political card.
I like it.
All right. Next up,
Boneyard Mycodrax.
It's a fungus.
It is a fungus. Boneyard Mycodrax's power and toughness are each equal to the number of other creature cards in your graveyard. So he has Scavenge, which basically means that you can pay 4 and a black, exile it from your graveyard, and put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. So the card that you exile, you would put that number of +1/+1 counters on whoever you wanted to.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're exiling it, getting rid of it, but if you're doing +1/+1 counters, like if you wanted to put it on this guy, that would be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, it's interesting putting them all out and kind of looking at them in light of your commander's mutate ability or any other card's mutate ability. Just trying to see what the thought process was behind the cards that are in the deck. To me, that's the most fun part. And I think it helps me when I go build my own deck on my own if I'm constantly trying to pick apart what they were thinking when they were putting these cards together.
Right. All right. This one is going to be interesting for you, I think.
Deadly Rollick. This is an instant for 3 colorless and a black. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost, exile target creature. So if you have or Remy, the ever playful,
Yep.
out, then you can just cast it whenever you want.
Yeah, what's kind of...
Well, in its time frame.
Right. What I think is interesting about this is sometimes you're in a position where you need to play something to the battlefield to kind of get your game plan going, but you're also worried that your opponent is going to do something and kind of kill you, right? There's going to be something that they're going to do that's going to be... So you're like, well, hey, I have this removal spell in case they're going to do something crazy with their creature, but I'd really like to play my commander, but I don't have enough mana for both. This sort of kind of gives you the ability to do both, right? So what I like about the implication of this card is it sort of pushes the game forward, right? You're not sitting there sort of torn between, do I do this or do I do that? And I do it, like you, if you have your commander, then you don't have to worry about kind of stalling the game. You can be proactive and reactive at the same time. Though there's a whole cycle of these, and I think it's a little bit controversial. So I was curious what you thought of them.
Well, I can see how it would be an unpopular card.
Right.
Because let's just say this commander costs 6 mana. But what about some of our commanders that only cost 3 or 4? Like, you very quickly are going to be able to exile something that... without paying for it. Yeah. It's a big discount of 4 to not have to pay that. So I can kind of see how that would be a bit heavy on the on your opponents. And you've always play against that person though that has that deck that you're like, oh my god, really? Like, they'll just have something super oppressive that's just trashing everybody. And but I don't think everybody has those kind of decks. So I can see how that would upset some folks.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see how it plays out, for sure.
It's not terrible, but I would probably put it in my meanest deck.
Plus, it exiles the creature, which is pretty big.
Yeah,
right? It gets around indestructible.
Right.
Recursion, graveyard recursion. It just is.
But haven't there been those cards though that you just feel like I don't know how I'm going to get rid of this?
Yep.
And games that go long and long and long and long and long because there's just somebody playing with something that's just shutting everything down.
Yep.
So again, you always have to have that deck in your bag that's prepared for somebody to pull out something crazy.
All right, here's the next one.
All right, Dredge the Mire. It is a sorcery for 3 colorless and 1 black. Each opponent chooses a creature card in their graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Yeah, that's that goes along with our little crow over there. Interesting. So they get to choose the worst of their dead creatures for you.
Right.
So that's okay.
Yeah, it could be really good, or you could get a bunch of little dorks that don't do much.
True, but if you plan it right, you can take out their let's say they don't have any creatures in their graveyard. Right? And you purposefully take something out that's great, and then you play that card.
Yeah.
And they don't have any option except to give you the creature that you want. So,
Yeah, there's always one player that doesn't play a whole lot of creatures, but the creatures they play are like big, scary creatures.
I think you mean blue players. I think is what you mean.
So you're like, hey, what you only have Niv Mizzet in your graveyard? I guess I'll get the Niv Mizzet.
I guess I'll get that flying dragon.
Right?
Yeah. I might have a deck or two like that. Just out of sheer survival instinct.
So, you'll probably get 2 mediocre creatures, but you could get 1 really sweet creature too. All right, let's look at the next one.
Mind Leecher. I thought it said Mindlecheer, and I was like, what is that? Mind Leecher. It is a nightmare. It is 4 colorless and 2 black. It is a mutate creature, so for 4 and a black, you can play it in it for its mutate cost. It's a 5/5 flyer. Whenever this creature mutates, exile the top card of each opponent's library face down. Oh, you may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. I like it.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
It's a little bit like who? Black Cloak.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on
yeah, me too. Where you get you get to look at the top 4 and take a card.
It's a mono black legend.
Yeah.
He's got Death Touch.
And I know his name. Anyway,
our friend Troy has a deck with him as the commander.
Yeah.
But this one does it for all of your cards.
Just the top card. But my luck, I'd get a land, which I can't. Oh wait, I can play it. So I can play it if it's mana.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a cast thing. So interesting.
Yep.
So you basically get to play it no matter what it is.
Yep.
As long as it's exiled in that spot.
That's a lot of value.
I like that, actually. I like that one.
Oh.
But it's not too much. Gaunty! Yes!
Thank you, Old Wolf 30.
Thank you so much. I kept thinking it started with an O, so I dropped my G.
Yay.
So I think that this actually is it's a little bit more fair than Gaunty, right? Because somebody's not taking a stack of your cards and putting one aside and then putting the rest at the bottom. You're really only taking one card off the top for however many opponents you have. So that's not too bad. It's only one of my cards.
Right, but it's three different cards, right?
But if I'm the opponent,
right.
It's only one of my cards that you're pilfering.
Right.
So I'm not going to be too sad about it. Though it's probably going to be my very best card. Except that it's not going to be my commander.
Right.
That we can pretty much almost 100% guarantee. That I haven't shuffled my commander into my deck. Though, wait until the end of the game when I do stuff like that. But I think this is an okay hit. I would much rather take this hit than Gaunty.
And this happens every time it mutates.
Which, and because of your commander, right? Is it your commander that allows you to pull things out of the graveyard?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's coming back.
Yep.
He's going to come back again, and you're going to get... This is, I think, really, really cool if you're playing against somebody who has something that you are interested in playing with that you don't have in your deck personally. Like a bunch of artifacts or a bunch of beast token makers or anything like that. If somebody has their deck in that, built in that mode, and you don't really have any of that stuff, then it would be fun to borrow their cards.
Yeah, it's going to mix up the game. Depending on your opponents, it is going to play out different each time, which is kind of cool.
Like, what if you're playing against an Edgar deck, and you don't have any vampires personally, but maybe there's something in there that you get that lets you make vampires or zombies or something like that.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah. I like it.
All right, let's take a look at the next one.
Capricopian. It's a goat hydra. You like goats and hydras. I feel like you're going to play this card a lot. It's a creature it's got X in its casting cost. Isn't that odd? It's almost like they designed it that way. All right. For X in green, you get a 0/0 goat hydra. He comes into the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters. For 2, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Capricopian. Then you may reselect which player Capricopian is attacking. Only the player Capricopian is attacking may activate this ability, and only during the declare attacker's step. What? This is a card I might have to read like 3 times.
So say I'm attacking you with this goat hydra, and you have 2 mana available. You can put a +1/+1 counter
and make you redirect it
and have me attack, say, Troy instead.
So okay, I like it.
You're like, no. But then if Troy has 2 mana available...
Right. He can add 1 to it and turn it around back to me.
Right.
That would suck.
It's like a hot potato during the attack step.
It is. Yeah. I like it, though. That could be fun. Like, this to me seems like an uncard, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Like, it seems like a silver-bordered disaster. This is like a catastrophe card. This could be so bad, or it could just be fun, but it could also be awful. And let's say there's 3 of us, right? So what's gonna happen?
Well, it's funny because like you've got to if you're playing this yourself and you calculate, all right, who am I going to attack? Like you got to look at their mana available, like,
right?
So like maybe initially you're going to attack the person that has the most open mana available, in the hopes that they're going to shove it to maybe the person you kind of wanted to attack, but then now it's a little bit bigger,
right? But what if you put that under the mutate card?
Right, you can.
And then we just have like a big old bunch of fun right there.
Right.
Like, we just have so much fun happening.
Yeah, you can mutate this right on top of it, and then it's going to get all the +1/+1.
So
counters.
that seems bad.
Right, and that's commander damage.
Yeah, that seems bad. Okay.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. That could totally change a game. It could totally change a game. All right. But you wouldn't be mad about it, right? Because you'd just like sit back and just watch what happens next.
Right.
I love those kind of games.
It's like a little mini game that gets played during your attack.
I think that Wizards should do that. They should have mini games.
Yeah.
Like you have a card that makes you play a little mini game, and there are in the unsets. Mm-hmm. Okay, Sawtusk Demolisher. He is 2 green and 4 for a beast that has mutate. He is a 6/6 trampler. Whenever he mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. So you'll definitely be playing this, right? This is your thing.
Well, it's basically it's got Beast Within, right? That spell that can destroy a non-creature.
Right.
Or actually, that destroys any permanent. But
the you're really going to want to play this for the mutate cost, right? Because you're saving something, and you get to get rid of some great big stuff. Now they get a 3/3 beast, which
it's not nothing.
Yeah, which is why it's a discount, I'm sure.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a trade-off.
It's really good in like mono green decks that may have a hard time dealing with some things. Though it's a can only do it to non-creature permanents.
Right.
That's kind of interesting. I didn't. The first
like
3 times I've read this card, I was assuming it was just a Beast Within on a stick, but it's not.
But that's why I'm here.
Right.
That's why you have me around.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I'm actually a little disappointed in this card from what I originally thought.
But just put Beast Within in your deck as well.
Right.
I mean, it's not a losing card.
Well,
this could be a lot of fun.
Well, it's not like green has lots of ways of dealing with non-creature cards. But
you're only giving them a token. So if you can do something to bounce creatures or do something like, because there's blue in this deck, right? There's blue in this deck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you do something like that, then they lose the token right away, and they never get to beat you up with the beast that you gave them. You know, it's really painful when you give people something, and then they hit you over the head with it.
Right.
It's very painful. So, pretty sure that's happened a couple of times.
Indeed.
So.
All right. You've made me a little sadder.
Well, I think you should get over it because I think it's still a pretty good card.
Wait till you read that card. Manascape
Refractor. So I think that needs an altered art because you've heard of manscaping, right. And I think that you could have a bit of fun with that. So
I think you're
somebody
right.
do an altar for me. Inklin, are you listening?
Manascape
Refractor enters the battlefield tapped. So let's just go ahead and do that.
Okay.
It has all activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to pay the activation. This is going in every commander deck that I have.
Right.
To pay the activation costs of Manascape I'm never going to be able to call it Manascape Refractor. Abilities. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good card.
Yep.
I might be overstating that I would put it in every deck, but it's pretty, that's a pretty potent card. Because I believe there are some lands that, some activated abilities of some lands that I really like.
Do cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They turn into things, or they can, what do we have, some blockable?
Or like you playing against somebody that has super crazy, they have Guy's Cradle or Sarah Sanctum or whatever, you can sort of copy the abilities on that.
And then I can tap my commander to give me 2 of any color or any one color, but I can use it to activate something.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's a good choice for this deck. I might put that in every single commander deck that I ever have. Ever.
Yeah.
That seems good. In fact, it's so good, I'm really surprised it's not a legendary artifact.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a regular artifact. It's like no big deal.
Yep.
I'm just sitting over here manscaping.
Right.
No problem. Ignore me.
Right.
You know, but that's a pretty big big deal for a card.
Yep.
For 3 mana. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I'm looking forward to the shenanigans that could happen with it.
Somehow now I'm not. I was. Now I'm feeling like you're way ahead of me, as usual.
All right, so I'm going to glance through these because I think we're into the reprint section.
Wait, what's that?
I'm going to let you look through these. I just want to make sure that there aren't any other new ones in here.
I've never seen that before. Is that a reprint?
I don't think that's this might be new. Or maybe it's in...
Oh, that's a shark. What was that? That was a shark.
Alright, this is all stuff that's in...
in Ikoria?
Ikoria.
Okay.
So some of these might be cards that you haven't seen either.
Oh yeah, we pulled a couple of those when we opened the box. Looks familiar.
Okay, I think these are new for sure. So if you want to take a look at those.
Sure. All right. Psychic Impetus. It is a 2 and 1 blue. It's an enchantment aura, so it goes immediately into my Estra deck. And you enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you scry 2. That seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I don't like about that is I don't like to have to attack. I don't like that. Though, if you, can you enchant a mutated creature? So if it has, like, Death Touch, then you have to attack with it, and it's probably going to kill anything that...
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that might be okay. Now we have Parasitic Impetus, which is going to enchant a creature for 2, colorless and a black. It is going to give them +2/+2, and it also is goaded. And whenever enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Okay. So you would enchant someone else's creature?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the neat thing about goad is that they have to attack,
right,
but they can't attack you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a double whammy.
So, and it also packs a little bit of a punch, too, because it adds +2/+2. All right. And...
Rumbus 218 is saying, what is happening? What do you mean, what is happening? Is something wrong? Can you hear us?
Maybe he doesn't like the B-52s.
Oh no, maybe. All right.
Okay. What you mean just what's happening in general? Because we're just opening a commander. Just opening a commander precon.
Right. Yeah. I guess Rhombus, if you're just joining us, we're opening up the Enhanced Evolution box.
Predatory Impetus. This one's. Oh, did I already read that? No.
No, this is the
this
green
is different. Okay, so for 4 colorless and a green, it enchants a creature. The creature gets +3/+3. Must be blocked if able and is goaded. So they have to block. It has to attack and.
People have to block it.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Illusory Ambusher. It is a cat illusion. We have a few of those. And it's for 4 and blue. It has flash. It is 4/1. And whenever Illusory Ambusher is dealt damage, draw that many cards. So I'm not.
So it's just kind of a way to block something huge, and then you get to draw a bunch of cards.
Okay.
I mean, it's expensive.
But it's only got one. Its toughness is only 1.
Yeah, it's gonna die, but you're gonna draw a bunch of cards.
Okay. So it's basically just a draw spell.
Yeah.
It's just gonna block once and then be a draw spell.
But like some people will attack
Some
with
people
some
won't
giant creature, right?
Right, and a lot of people are not gonna want you to draw cards. Because I remember Ryan Decker telling me that a very long time ago. You don't want people to draw cards. So if you have a way to draw cards, do that. Draw cards.
Right.
And I committed that to my memory.
All right, so Rhombus says, by the way, I played Cauldron of Souls in Glissa today, and it was lots of fun. I used a tutor just to get it out and try it. Okay, so I think you might be referring to a discussion on Twitter about Glissa the Trader and Cauldron of Souls. So cool. I'm glad you gave it a whirl. I think it's a great card for that deck. All right, so those are the new cards. I'm not sure if this is a new card or not, but let's take a look.
It doesn't seem familiar to me, but then a lot of things don't seem familiar to me. This is Bonder's Ornament. It is a 3 colorless mana artifact. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. For 4 colorless and tap it, each player who controls a permanent named Bonder's Ornament draws a card. So everybody gets to draw a card if they have this out on the battlefield.
Yep. Interesting.
It seems you could put it in K&T.
Okay.
Right? Because you can tap it for 1 mana of any color.
Yep.
And then you can throw away 4 colorless to tap it and
draw a card.
card.
And if somebody else happens to have one of those out, they get to draw one too.
Right.
And maybe they'll return the flavor.
I doubt it, but maybe we can hope, we can dream. I don't know if I like that card. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know that I would put it in anything.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
better
leaning...
ways for 3 mana to draw a card.
So this is a reprint. Arcane Signet.
Mm-hmm. I like that for 2. I like that.
Yep.
It gives you any color that you have or that you might need.
It's a bit of a controversial card, apparently. For some people, they think that it shouldn't have been made, that it's too good.
Is it because it's glowing?
Maybe.
Do they not like it because
some people
of the glowing?
may not like the glow. But, yeah, I mean, so some people think that this card makes a bunch of other 2-mana artifacts that tap for mana obsolete.
Well, here's the thing. You can play more than one. Though, I have to say, I remember that the panel that you and Gavin and Sheldon did at the SCG Con, talking about your mana base. And I think you probably could argue that you don't want to rely too heavily on non-land sources of mana fixing. But why not have, like, what do they think it's going to, what's the advantage to this 2 mana artifact over another one that gives you some color fixing?
Well, a lot of other 2 mana artifacts tap for just a colorless mana. Or they tap, you have to pay a life to get 2 colors of mana out, like a mana and or a life to get a colored mana out of it. Or you have to spend a mana into it to then tap and get 2 mana, 2 colored mana. So like some of the other options are a little clunkier than this. I mean, this is just super easy mana fixing, and if you have a 5 color commander, this can tap for one of 5 different colors.
Okay, but you're looking at one. If you sleeve this whole thing up and shuffle it, and then draw 7 cards, you're not guaranteed to get your artifact out. I mean, your chances of drawing the land color that you need are greater than drawing that.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it. People sometimes get a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to something that seems like it's going to be too good. But this is Commander. There's 99 other cards that you're going to be shuffling through. And I just don't think that... I don't think it's that big of a deal.
And my thought is, I would rather people have good mana and be able to play their
because
cards.
You want to play the game, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't want you to play the game in Commander. They want to play their game, and maybe have everyone else stall out. So, not across the board, but you've certainly played those games. So I don't think that's. I don't think it's a big problem.
And one thing that's nice about this reprint is that when this first was printed in the Brawl precons last fall, there weren't enough Brawl precons to go around.
I remember that, and everybody wanted that card.
So this was like a $15 card for a long time.
Right.
And it's
so now it'll be reasonable.
Now it's reasonable and
good.
easy.
Well, that's good. But I still think that you're probably going to fill your, maybe your artifact slots with something that does something different.
Right.
That's not a given. Like, you don't look at that card and go, I have to have that in every Commander deck.
Exactly.
But if you have a 4-color or a 5-color deck, it might be nice to have in your stack.
So these cards here are a bunch of reprints. And
what?
I thought if you wanted
what is
to...
that?
I know, right?
It's got Soaring. I thought we hated Soaring now as a Commander community. Do we hate
No,
Soaring?
Some people hate Soaring.
Okay. All right.
I think most people do not hate Soaring.
have to check on a daily basis what we hate as a group, our collective. I love Soaring, but I especially love all the jokes that ensue when Soaring comes up on like turn 10 or 15 or something like that. Like I think that's camaraderie, and that's fun.
So anyway, these are a bunch of
I definitely recognize these.
These are stuff from Ikoria.
Look, babe. There's your Beast Within.
Yep.
It's there. You don't have to be mad at that other card again.
So this is all Ikoria stuff, which is kind of cool. So we got some Ikoria things kind of filtered in here. So I wanted to see if there was any reprints in here that you were kind of excited to see.
Well, yeah. I'm a little excited to see that. Oh my god. Yes. I am excited to see some of these. Oh, I like that. Were some of these a little cost prohibitive?
I don't think so.
No.
But you'll notice some of these are X spells, so that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. They fit right in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of Hydras in here. Oh, that is such a creepy. Could I make a request? Can you guys do something about this at Wizards? Can we get some different art for this?
New artwork.
Because this thing gives you nightmares.
I mean, it is called Cold-Eyed Selkie.
It doesn't matter. It shouldn't give you nightmares. That's very nice, Nissa.
That's a planeswalker with X in its cost, so that's kind of that plays nicely with the XR, the exemplary.
gives you a Hydra.
Right, so Rhombus was saying Beast Whisperer was exciting. That's the, whenever you cast a creature spell, you get to draw a card.
Oh, did I just fly by it?
You might have.
Sorry.
Oh, it's right here.
How do you guys feel about the commander deck being tied to a main set release? Yeah, so the Ikoria cards, this bit in here doesn't thrill me. I'm not really interested in... So we opened a box. I don't know if you guys caught that, but there's not a lot of cards to me in a set that just feel commandery. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this is a sizable stack to me, my personal opinion, and I know nothing, so take this for what it's worth. To have that many cards from the Ikoria release doesn't... I'm not terribly excited about that. I do love I mean, this is a Villainous Wealth. I do love the older cards. I don't think there's anything wrong with newer cards. Like when Lifecrafter's Bestiary came out in, was it Kaladesh? Mm-hmm. That I just thought was the coolest card. And some of these I've never seen before because I've not been playing that long. But I prefer... I don't know why they did that. I don't know if that's happened before. Have they done that before?
No, this is the first time they've done it. And
okay.
As he mentioned, that Gavin Verhey
mm-hmm.
said that one of the things that they wanted to do was, like, for instance, when Amonkhet... what? Amonkhet? When...
No, it was Kaladesh.
Kaladesh had a bunch of energy stuff,
mm-hmm.
but they didn't have enough good energy stuff that you could fill a commander deck with mm-hmm. because it's a singleton format, right?
Right.
So if you wanted to try to do an energy deck in commander, you really couldn't do that so well. So
right.
The point of this is to take the mutate mechanic and be able to build a commander deck around the mutate stuff, which I think is kind of interesting. My biggest beef with it is having it released the exact same time as Ikoria. It kind of just mushed all of the excitement together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have rather had Ikoria release. I mean, of course, the pandemic made everything kind of screwy, but even without the pandemic, they basically planned for these to come out at the same time. I think it would have been better to wait at least a couple of weeks or maybe a month, and then have sort of a month go by and everybody's excited about Ikoria, and then the new Commander product come out and kind of build on some of those mechanics.
Let people play Mutate for a while and then get kind of really into that new idea. So that makes sense. I just don't normally find... And now having not played any Ikoria cards yet at all. I haven't done anything on Arena. I haven't played anything. I didn't find a lot in our box or in our pre-release sets that made me think, "Ooh, that's a great commander card." So to me, this feels a little bit fabricated, like deliberately put together like that. But I haven't played it yet, so it's a very good point, though, about Kaladesh having all that energy stuff, because that was really kind of a very cool feature of that set, and it would have been maybe fun to have a commander deck come out like that.
Right.
But because, to me, pre-releases are limited, because that's how I play them, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask anyway, but... I don't play a lot of standard because I don't care for it that much as a general rule. But I like my commander products, and they're very exciting to me. And I think we got the short end of the stick here because it was supposed to be a big year for commander. 2020 was supposed to be a really fun commander time. So I feel like pushing this all out together does feel less celebratory for Commander. But, I mean, these are good.
There's a bunch of overlap, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I wish they had given a little bit more time between the two, personally. I did want to mention before we wrap up this deck is it was nice to see Endless Sands as a card in here reprinted. So it's a desert, and it taps for colorless, and then for 2 you can exile a creature you control. Or for 2 mana tap, exile a creature you control, and then for 4 mana tap and sacrifice this, and you can return each creature card exiled with Endless Sands to the battlefield under owner's control. So what's kind of interesting with Mutate is that if whatever happens to the mutated creature happens to all the creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody casts Swords to Plowshares on your mutated creature, everything gets exiled, right? So what's kind of cool is that this can you can use this in response and basically kind of tuck away the mutated creature here, and then for 4 mana you can sacrifice it and bring it back. Now once the mutated creature changes zones, those cards are basically considered separately. So if you had a creature with 3 mutations on it, then and you sacrifice this and brought them back, you would get 3 different creatures.
So wait a second. What was that card that had the ability of all of the lands on the battlefield? Because I can exile with that too, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that I had 4 available mana. I could, my Manscape. Oh yeah. So I could pay 2 and tap, exile something under here. Pay 2, tap, exile something under here. And then I could put my commander back in my command zone. So I could save 3 of my creatures if somebody was to do that. Is that correct?
Right.
I'm thinking of that the same way. Okay. So then if I sack this, let's say I've now untapped and it's got a creature under it. Or it's got 3 creatures under it, right?
Right.
Because I can do that as many times as I can tap it.
Yeah.
So,
so you can sack it, get the creatures back, and then use your commander to mutate from the command zone.
I could put a mask on it too, and then I could untap it with Estrid.
With Estrid,
right?
Yes,
sure.
Indeed.
Anyway, that's crazy, but okay. Anyway, that would be an opportunity to save maybe 3 of my mutated creatures. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of neat that they threw that in there. That was kind of a cool choice. All right. So you want to do one more?
I kind of want to eat, but I really, yeah.
I mean, now that we've sort of gone through it, we can probably go through it a little quicker.
Can I pick it? Can I pick this one?
Yeah, pick the next one.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna pick my favorite colors.
Okay. What is that?
This is Timeless Wisdom, or Gavi, Nest Warden. Is a human shaman, and there's going to be some dinosaur cats.
Do you know that's the Gavinist card in the set? That's why they named it that way. Gavin.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Kudos, Gavin.
The Gavinist card. All right.
Well, somebody have fun with that.
Right. All right. So this is the cycling deck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Plus
all right,
drawing cards and all that good stuff. All right, so you want to read the face card?
So the face card is our commander is Gavi, Nest Warden. 2 colorless, a blue, a red, and a white. For a human shaman, you may pay 0 rather than pay the cycling cost of the first card you cycle each turn. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 red and white dinosaur cat creature token. So you draw cards when you cycle, right? So that's fun. And then it is a 2/5, which is kind of good for a commander.
Yeah.
So there's that. Again, we have the you can never lose the game spinning counter. We're going to put that right there.
Amazing technology there.
It's great. I'm loving it. Wasn't the other one in plastic? No, maybe not. Okay. We have our created token, which Wizards accidentally put in there. I feel like that was a lucky mistake. And let's see here. Crinkle, crinkle. That must sound a lot of fun. We'll do it really close to the... No. we won't. We won't.
They love it.
We won't annoy people that way.
You love it, chat.
No. They hate me.
You love the crinkles.
Okay.
Sorry.
So there's our shiny commander.
I'm imitating a streamer. Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that. Here's our regular sized Gavi right there.
Okay.
And then we have Kiemce, the Soaring Wind. I'm just going to read what it does.
Okay.
It's a flyer, a 3/4 flyer. Whenever you create one or more tokens for the first time each turn. That's funny. Create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. And then for paying 3 colorless, a blue, red, and white, you can actually give them double strike until the end of the turn. So that's kind of nice.
Nice.
What happened?
I think my screen was lagging. Okay.
Oh. And then we have here
partners.
We have a Sky Shark Rider.
Yeah.
So we have Braylon, Sky Shark Rider. Let's see. Whenever you discard a card, which isn't cycling.
Yep.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Cycling,
well, there you go.
Card.
All of this is going to work together. Put a 1/1 counter on a +1/+1 counter on Braylon, Sky Shark Rider, and deal 1 damage to each opponent. For 1 red, target shark gains trample until end of turn. So our partner over here is Shabraz the Sky Shark. It's a flying shark, people.
Shark bird.
That's crazy. It's a 3/3 flying shark bird. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Shabraz the Sky Shark, and you gain 1 life. And for 1 white or 1 blue, target human gains flying until end of turn.
So his good buddy Brawlin can join him in the sky.
Right. Seems fun. And they can trample away if they want. And then we have our tokens here. Dinosaur cats on one side and birds on the other. So that's nice.
Okay. Excellent.
And then we've got some spirits, elementals.
Those dinosaur cats are cute.
Some drakes, a kraken, angel, elemental.
Release
treasure.
the kraken!
All right, fine.
You had to say that.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to.
Okay. Let me try to find some new
Yeah.
cards here. All right, let's see what we got. So this is all the mana. So there's a bunch of cycling lands, so that's kind of cool. That's on theme. So we've got Myriad Landscape and Ash Barren, so those are kind of nice reprints. Reliquary Tower.
I thought that had new art.
And we've got another bad card.
Hey, ow!
All right, and these look like some new cards here. All right, so Here you go.
All right, Cryptic Trilobite, or Trilobite, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. It is a double X casting cost. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Cryptic Trilobite and add 2 colorless mana. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. For 1 and to tap, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Cryptic Trilobite. Interesting.
Yep.
Do we need to talk about that? Did you want to discuss?
I mean, it's kind of neat in a way. I mean, it plays with counters and gives you mana to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of neat. It goes in the same family with like Hangerback Walker and Walking Ballista.
But it scuttles.
It does scuttle.
Obviously. It's a scuttling Cryptic Trilobite.
Yep.
Dismantling Wave. Why does that... That sounds familiar. Is that not a reprint?
I feel like there was a similarly worded card, but this is new.
For 2 and a white, this is a sorcery. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. You cycle for 6 colorless and 2 white. I don't like that. That's a very high cost for cycling.
But aren't you glad you got Gavi? You can just pay 0.
Oh, yeah. Oh. So that's interesting. Okay.
I mean, it's got a high cost because it's very powerful, the effect.
It is. I get it.
And you can't counter it unless you have a special... there's a special subset of blue cards that can counter triggered abilities that can deal with that. But generally speaking, that's going to just cycle and then blow up every artifact and enchantment.
Wait, walk back a little bit. What do you mean that you can't counter it?
Well, like when you cycle it, you pay the cost and you discard it, and then you draw a card. And then this has a triggered ability when you cycle it, so that the trigger just happens. There's no opportunity for you to cast a counter spell and stop it.
Okay. So then they could counter the sorcery if we played it, but they can't counter the cycling.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. And then you would get you can play it or you'd cycle for 0, and then you can get a 2/2 red and white dinosaur cat. Yeah. And then something else happens with the token somewhere. Whenever you create 1 or more tokens for the first time each turn, then you also get a bird. So you get a cat, dragon, and a bird.
Yep.
Right? Okay, that's good. When you cycle...
since this isn't an artifact, you're not going to lose your Trilobite.
So, but also, when you cycle this, you destroy all artifacts and enchantments.
Yep.
So you have to be careful what you have out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha. Okay. Herald of the Forgotten. That is a flying lion, and I like it.
Cat beast.
It's a flying lion.
Yep. Flying lion.
Flying lion.
And I ain't lying.
Nope. When Herald of the Forgotten enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return any number of target permanent cards with cycling abilities from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is some shit right there. So that's perfect.
Right.
Not only is it a 6/6 flyer, but everything that you have cycled comes out.
Like lands.
Right.
Right. So you've cycled away some of your...
Yeah. And you get them all back.
Cycling lands, and then
they just come right back.
They pop on back.
Right.
Yep.
I like it.
It's pretty nice.
I like it.
I mean, it's 8 mana, so it needs to be powerful.
True.
And it definitely fits that bill.
Wouldn't it be funny if it cycled? If it had a cycling cost on it?
That would be interesting.
It would just be funny. I'm not saying it would be worth anything, but it would be funny, and it would be laughable.
You know what's interesting when you go back to the Trilobite? Mm-hmm. Cycling is an ability, so you can use some of the Trilobite mana to help pay for some of the cycling.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to.
If you have your commander out, you get to cycle for free.
For the first time you cycle in a turn.
So if you wanted to do more, let's say you wanted a bunch of cats.
Right, you wanted more cats.
And 1 bird, because you only get 1 bird.
Well, no, you only get a cat when you draw your second card per each turn. So,
oh, okay. So you're only going to get 1, and you're only going to get 1 bird. Okay. Nope.
But maybe you want to deal some damage and grow your shark.
Okay. Right. Well, that works. All right. I'm sold.
Yeah. Like maybe I'm at 2 life, and you want to kill me with Browlin.
Yeah.
You want to cycle 1 more
I'm
card.
sold. I tell you, I'm sold. It's fine.
All right.
I like it.
All right. Well, let's look at this next one.
All right. What does it say? It says Crystalline Resonance. It is an enchantment, so you definitely don't want to have that out when you play or when you cycle Dismantling Wave. Whenever you cycle a card, you may have Crystalline Resonance become a copy of another target permanent until your next turn, except it has this ability. Could you turn it into a creature and then it wouldn't get destroyed?
Yeah.
That's how that's going to happen.
Okay. So that's kind of interesting.
So that's an enchantment
it ducks that one. Okay.
It phases out in a way, right? It phases into another thing.
It's like, hey, I'm going to be a dinosaur cat until the end of the turn.
So you can't kill me with your Dismantling Wave.
Yep.
Someone correct us if we're wrong, but it sounds like that's what happens there.
Yes.
That seems deliberate.
Yep.
That's Gavin. Gavin did that.
It's the Gavinist.
Yes. Okay. All right. Ethereal Forager. This is a crazy looking whale guy. He's a 3/3 for 6, so he better have something good. He has Delve, which means each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1 of the colorless. So if you exile some cards, you can get a bit of a discount.
So if you exile 4, you
would only pay 2 blue.
2 blue.
Gotcha. So he's a flyer. Whenever Ethereal Forager attacks, you may return an instant or sorcery card exiled with Ethereal Forager to its owner's hand. Oh, that's a clever workaround. So that's going to get you back your instants and your sorceries from your graveyard if you just attack with your flying whale.
Right.
Seems good. Especially if they don't have any flying blockers.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be good in a deck that can give it haste, though, right? Because you gotta normally you have to wait, and if you've gotten back 3 really powerful instants or sorceries, right? People are gonna be incentivized to want to kill it, right?
Let's say that I exile 4 instants and sorceries from my graveyard.
Right.
And I pay 2 blue for this card.
Yeah.
And then whenever he attacks, I can return an instant or a sorcery card exiled with it to its owner's hand.
Yeah.
So I can play it again, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need some protection for your whale.
Yeah. Give it haste or just have.
But the fact that you only have to pay 2 for it means that it's going to come out pretty early, and it is a 3/3 flyer.
Right.
So it's got some oomph.
Yep.
So it may survive.
It
would be a risk though, because if I was playing against somebody who played that, I would be very tempted to kill it.
Right.
Because I know what I would do with those cards.
Yep.
But if you play it too early on, you're not going to get any decent instants and sorceries out of your graveyard to exile. So it's going to need some protection. You're going to have to mask that puppy up. You're going to have to play it in Estrid and put a mask on it. So that he has some totem, right?
Totem armor.
He's got some totem armor to keep him safe.
Right. Here's probably one of the most expensive cards in the entire new card set.
Fierce Guardianship. For 2 colorless and 1 blue, it's an instant, and it says if you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost, and you can counter target non-creature spell. And if that came back again, I don't even know what I would do.
Right.
If that was back in my hand again,
So that's another one of this in the cycle of the... Right. I'm guessing each deck has one of these. A different one of a different color.
The Guardianship, Fierce Guardianship, or Fierce something. Okay.
Yep.
I like it.
If you control your commander, it's a free negate.
I like free negates.
All right.
Check out Agitator Ant. That ant looks very, very painful. He is a 2 colorless and 1 red 2/2 creature. He is an insect. At the beginning of your end step, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. Goad each creature that had counters put on it in this way. At the beginning of your end step. Huh. Okay.
So if somebody wants the counters, they're going to have to attack someone other than you. So naturally, you're going to put +2 +1/+1 counters on one of your creatures at the end step, right? And then everybody else has the opportunity to do it too. But if they do, they got to attack with that creature, and it can't be you. That's kind of interesting.
I don't like goat stuff as a general rule. I think I might have mentioned that earlier.
Well, it helps games move along. That's what I like about the mechanic. It helps.
I'll give you that. But you know that I don't like it when games move along. I like games to take a while.
Okay.
I don't like the 6-turn commander.
Yeah.
Death fest.
Right. But also, you don't want to be playing for 2 hours.
Sometimes I do want to be playing for 2 hours.
Resolve a game. And you're really hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, like now. We should finish this game so he can eat.
All right.
Spellpire Phoenix. This is a 3 colorless, 2 red, flying 4/2 Phoenix. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target instant or sorcery card with a cycling ability from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of each end step, if you cycle 2 or more cards this turn, return Spellpire Phoenix from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting.
Yeah. Bring back some cycling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Phoenix, so it keeps coming back too.
It does. That seems deliberate. Surly Badgersaur. Whenever you discard a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Surly Badgersaur. He doesn't look like a badger at all. Whenever you discard a land card, create a treasure token. That's why there's a treasure token.
Right.
And we all know what treasure tokens are by this point. Whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, Surly Badgersaur fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. And he's a 3/3. But he gets bigger anytime you discard a card. Anytime you discard a creature card. And if you discard a land card, oh, I like this. I like that. That seems good. All right, give me 2 more.
All right, here's a couple more of the Impetus. I think you've already seen the Psychic Impetus,
psychic
but
one.
you haven't seen the Red Impetus.
The shiny Impetus. Aw. So for 2 and a red, you can enchant a creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you create a treasure token. Okay, I like it. It's on theme.
I like that. I like how the Badgersaur works so nicely with cycling stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
It's pretty
like
cool.
you can, whatever you throw away, whatever you discard, gives you a different bonus. I like it.
All right, so here's some of the cycling cards that are from Ikoria. So take a look at those and see if there's any of those that look kind of cool to you.
We have a crystal. Okay.
So he makes dudes when you cycle once per turn.
Seems like I would not want to cycle him. I would want to play him.
Right.
And then cycle some stuff. And then if he goes to the graveyard, then I have ways to get my cycling cards back from the graveyard, right?
Yep.
So you know I'm going to want to draw 4 cards.
But 6 mana to get those.
That's true. That is true.
But sometimes you might need
But
it.
I might want to do that later on. So I could cycle it. It's got a... Well, we don't care. Because if we have our commander out, it's 0.
But
right?
it's got a really cheap cycling cost.
Yeah.
Mana.
So, and you get to discard it and draw a card. Neutralize, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Spell.
But you can also draw a card. Depends on what you need to do.
Now this, I think you're going to like that card.
Ominous Seas, it's an enchantment for 1 and blue. Whenever you draw a card, put a foreshadow counter on Ominous Seas. Remove 8 foreshadow counters from Ominous Seas. Create an 8... Oh, dear. Create an 8/8 blue Kraken creature token.
So, and it doesn't go away. So it's just every time you get 8, you can make a Kraken, and then you can keep making
Krakens.
You can keep.
You won't be Kraken lacking.
You won't be lacking the Krakens.
Right. All right. I apologize to the world. Reconnaissance Mission, 2 colorless or 2 of any color and 2 blue. An enchantment. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. I like that.
Yep,
that seems good. Rooting Moloch. That's a weird word. Okay. When he enters the battlefield, or when it enters the battlefield, exile target card with a cycling ability from your graveyard until the end of your next. Ooh. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card.
Yeah, till the end of your next turn. So
that seems good.
It sticks around until you have the mana to cast it. So that's kind of cool.
Seems good. Savai Thundermane is an elemental cat. Thundermane. Whenever you cycle a card, you may pay 2. When you do, Savai Thundermane deals 2 damage to target creature, and you gain 2 life. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That is so Boros.
Yeah.
I like it.
So there's an old school card in Boros called Lightning Helix that costs 1 in red. That's an instant, and it deals 3 damage, and you gain 3 life. So it basically kind of shoots out.
I like it.
Little mini lightning helixes.
Well, and that's what he's doing with his eyes.
Right.
See? That's great. Zenith Flare deals X damage to any target, and you gain X life, where X is the number of cards with a cycling ability in your graveyard. So you want to do this before you exile those, or put them back in your hand, or play them. Yeah.
So this card is terrorizing Magic Arena right now.
Is it?
People are playing, and this is routinely killing you out of nowhere. Like you get hit with one at the beginning of your end step, and then they untap, and then they hit you with another one, and all of a sudden you've taken 25 points of damage.
And in standard, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not so bad in Commander.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's not terrible. 25 points in standard will kill you.
Yep.
Like one shot. You're dead. Martial Impetus. It is an enchantment aura.
This isn't from Ikoria, but that's another one of the Impetus cards.
Oh, okay.
That you like so much.
Okay. Do I? Are you being facetious?
Yeah, I don't think it's another goad. It's another goad.
Oh, card. Well, I don't care for goad, but these have some interesting features. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and is goaded, and then whenever that enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So that's good.
It's like a mass goad in a way.
It's almost like imminence in a way,
yeah.
Right? A little bit in that it gives everybody that +1/+1. I like it.
All right, you want to take a quick gander at the reprints? See if there's anything that looks cool to you?
Sure.
There you go.
All right, we've already talked about this and this. Here is Fluctuator.
So cycling abilities cost 2 less. So it's kind of like a little...
So if you don't have your commander out yet, this will give you a little bonus.
Yep.
Akroma's Vengeance. Destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments, or you can cycle it to draw a card. Astral Drift.
Blinks creatures.
Whenever you cycle or another card while Astral Drift is on the battlefield, you may exile target creature. If you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So that might be a way to protect something.
Yep.
If you've cycled something.
So you can cycle, get a couple of creatures in exile, then cast Wrath of God.
Can you cycle at instant speed?
Yep.
So it might be a way to protect another creature that's mutated if you had it. Is that possible?
Yep. It also would break up a mutate. Right. So when the creature comes back, it comes back as 3 different or 2 different or 3 different creatures. Which may or may not be a good thing.
Right.
Depending.
Right. I like this. Decree of Justice. You know I like those things that give you a bunch of stuff. This will create X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying. Whenever you cycle it, you must pay X. If you do, create X 1/1 white soldier creature token. So you can either get some 4/4 white angels that fly, or maybe you can get some 1/1 white soldiers.
At instant speed.
Yeah, that seems good. Yeah.
For the cycling part.
Yeah, for the cycling. Interesting. Descend upon the sinful. Exile all creatures. In Delirium, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard.
Which you're a cycling deck, so that's probably going to
happen.
Pretty easy to set up.
Yeah.
So and you get to exile all creatures, and then when the dust clears, you have a 4/4 white angel.
Seems good.
Yeah.
Don't we have a way to get instants and sorceries back out of our graveyard too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way
I thought we did. Eternal Dragon. It's a flyer. He's 5/5. You can return Eternal Dragon from your graveyard to your hand for 3 and 2 white. Activate this ability only during your upkeep. or Plains Cycling. Pay 2, discard this, and go get a Plains, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Sometimes I want nothing more than to be able to shuffle my library. Sometimes that is literally all I can think of as if I could do anything in the world right now, it would be shuffle my library.
Right.
So that's kind of nice. Hoofprints of the Stag. Whenever you draw a card, you may put a hoofprint counter on Hoofprints of the Stag. For 2 and a white, remove 4 hoofprint counters from Hoofprints of the Stag. Create a 4/4 white elemental creature token with flying. I like that. I like that. You're going to probably draw a lot of cards, and you get to do that with every single card draw. So, I like that.
Yep. Cycling, it's going to add up quick.
Well, and not only that, but this has got some blue in it, so you may just end up... What if you just decided, hey, you know what, I want to get these counters, and I'm just going to go ahead and pay 6 and draw 4 cards. Sun Titan, always a good choice for everything ever in the history of mankind.
Very nice.
Always want some Sun Titan. Curator of Mysteries, Drake Haven. These are all cycles? No. Drake Haven says when you cycle or discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 2/2 Drake.
So, yeah, Curator of Mysteries lets you, whenever you cycle or discard a card, you get to scry.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of set up your draws so that your cycling cards get even better.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nice. And this gives you some Drakes if you need it.
Those might.
Those are from the Amonkhet set.
Does this have Reliquary Tower in it? Is this the one with Reliquary Tower?
I don't know. Let me see.
It has to, because it's got a card here that it's called New Perspectives. It's an enchantment. Whenever it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. As long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may pay 0 rather than pay cycling costs. I'm guessing that it's probably in there somewhere. Or some way to have unlimited hand size.
I mean, it's pretty easy to pick up a Reliquary Tower if you need it. Oh,
there it is.
There's Reliquary Tower.
Nimble Obstructionist. They've got flash.
Mm-hmm.
Flying. You can cycle, and whenever you cycle, Nimble Obstructionist, counter target activated or triggered ability you don't control.
So that's the so a lot of the remember we were talking about the cycling ability that you could cycle it and destroy all artifacts and enchantments.
Mm-hmm.
That's a triggered ability, so this is one way you can stop that.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting.
Portal Mage also has flash. Whenever it enters the battlefield during the declare attacker step, you may reselect which player or planeswalker target attacking creature is attacking. So you can redirect someone else's attack against you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Kind of like that Hydra.
Yeah.
In the other deck.
Some Chandra. Oh, look. It's my favorite.
Niv Mizzet.
Yeah. And look, it's not my favorite at all.
But it's your favorite in this deck.
It's probably good.
Because you're going to be drawing cards whenever you cycle.
This is pretty good too. Tectonic Reformation. It gives all of my land cards in my hand cycling. So I can cycle.
For a red mana. And it itself has cycling.
Okay. Asperia Supreme Judge. A 6/4 flyer. That's a beatdown. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, you may draw a card. So there's already some stuff in here that I'd like to pull out and put in a different deck. So
okay.
there's some draw card stuff in here that I would like to have to play with.
Awesome.
This young man here has some effects. So we can pay a blue, tap to draw 2 cards, pay a red, tap to discard a card. And then he deals damage to target creature equal to the discarded card's converted mana cost. He's a 2/3 human wizard. So that's pretty good. I like that. That would probably be good in Niv Mizzet.
Wizard!
So when I draw cards, if I pay a blue, tap him, draw 2 cards, I can ping something with Niv. The Locust God. We all know what the Locust God does. Terrible things. Terrible things. Little hasty, flying, buzzing insects.
I think you have one in your Niv Mizzet deck.
I think I do. And then Abandoned Sarcophagus. It's an artifact. You may cast spells that have a cycling... What? From your graveyard?
Right.
What? If a card that has a cycling ability would be put into your graveyard from anywhere and it wasn't exiled, exile it instead. If a card has a cycling ability, would be put into your graveyard from anywhere and it wasn't cycled. Okay, so if it dies or if it gets destroyed somehow.
Well, like if you cast a spell with cycling from the graveyard,
Right.
You exile it. It's to prevent stuff like that from
getting out of hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I really like that.
Yep.
I like that.
The sarcophagus.
I like it when you can play things from your graveyard, but I'm not saying that I like to play against a deck where you can play things from your graveyard. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everybody likes to play their own graveyard stuff. It's rough when people...
I feel like sometimes people don't even consider that as a possibility. And then when you do it, you're like, why don't I always do this? Like, why can't I always play lands from my graveyard? I like this. But then I don't like necessarily playing against someone who's playing everything out of their graveyard. It becomes oppressive if it's not the right person.
Yep. All right.
All right, are we done? Can we go eat?
You don't want to open up another deck?
No! I want to go eat food.
That's fine. So anyway, thank you for joining me on another one of these, opening up some cool new stuff.
Well, thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you for inviting me to come and sit and play with you for a while.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm Benny Smith, and this is my lovely partner, Wendy, and you can check me out on the various links here up on the screen. And I put out a lot of different content, so feel free to check it out. And if you have any comments, let me know what new commander cards you're excited about. And have a great day. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.